Well, that was hideous, but disaster averted. LSU beats North Dakota State somehow 11-9. Let's talk about it. It's Locked on LSU.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, got it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe as always. One of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you so much for that. I understand the audio in the first 5 seconds of this was terrible, but I think I just got it fixed. So like the LSU baseball team, slow start for your boy, but we got it worked out. LSU beats North Dakota State 11-9 Tuesday night out at the box to avoid what would be a hideous loss for this baseball team. But you know what? On my radio show on Tuesday, I joked with Matt Musso, who hosts, by the way, Musso at the Box. Shout out if you're not familiar. You should go check out that podcast. The great Roger Cador, former Southern head coach, Hall of Fame coach, one time was doing an interview with me and Josh Ennis on our radio show. This was 2008, maybe 07, I don't know. And Cador said, you could hit a ball 400 feet and it'll be an out. Or you could hit a ball 4 feet and it's a base hit, but that's baseball. And it's so true. It is the most unpredictable game in the world, and it's why I love it. There is no shot ever. There is no shot ever that Grambling would beat LSU in football. No shot. It is a literal impossibility. But in baseball, North Dakota State, on the right day, when LSU pitchers decide that they want to walk 6 hitters, hit 4 more, put 10 hitters on base, and allow 9 runs on 6 hits. Hear me. North Dakota State scored 9 runs on 6 hits. That team got 6 hits and scored 9 runs because you decided to commit 3 errors. Your pitchers decided to walk, what did I say? 6. And then you decided to hit 4 more. I mean, you want to let a bad team in a baseball game? That's how you do it. But that's baseball. You have to throw the ball over the plate. When they hit it, you got to catch it. When they throw it, you got to hit it. I'm oversimplifying it, but that is the nature of this game, and it's why I love it. It's why it's maddening and why a lot of people hate it. There's no clock. It is idiosyncratic. It is hard to understand because sometimes things like what we saw Tuesday happen. Let's go through it. Thank you so much for being with us, by the way. If you're new, we go live after LSU baseball games. If you're not sure of the format, I'll give you my take, break, come back to do your questions and comments. So please drop your questions and comments in the chat. I appreciate it. If you're listening or watching on demand, thank you so much. Please go to the Locked on LSU YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we go live so you can be here and join us live after the game. Let me go to the end. Let me start with LSU's rally, ultimately taking the lead, and then we'll go back and talk about the pitching and everything that went wrong. So, Tigers are down 2. You go to the bottom of the 6th, and they put together a nice rally. But it was not easy. Stanfield grounded out, and then Curiel doubled. Jones got an infield single, and then Dickinson bunt for a hit. So all of a sudden, you are bases loaded with 1 out. Josh Pearson hits a ball to center, Should have been a long fly ball out for a sack fly. Center fielder drops the ball because, of course, he does, because North Dakota State is a terrible baseball team. You played an awful baseball team. They are an awful baseball team. Center fielder drops the ball. Run scores, but Dickinson had retreated to first to be able to tag, and because he retreated to first, he was forced out at second base. So now you got 2 outs, runners at the corners, and God bless Stephen Milam, who comes up in a big spot, doubles, tie ball game on Jones scoring there. The Ethan Fry came in to pinch hit for Jake Brown. They wanted to go lefty-righty, and Fry strikes out on a full count pitch. So, but the game is tied, and ultimately it would stay that way until the bottom of the 8th, when the LSU offense would come through for what would be the go-ahead run, when yet again it was Stephen Milam. Unfortunately, Curiel, who's been awesome this year, struck out to start the inning. Jared Jones, which got down 0-2, looked at 4 straight balls. Beautiful AB by Jones. Runner on first, 1 out. Dickinson, after a called first strike because he wouldn't get in the box in 10 seconds, got a little ticked off, and then on the next pitch, singles. So first and second, John Pearson walks on 4 pitches. John was pinch hitting for Josh to get a righty in the game. And then Stephen Milam came in, and yet again, more heroics for a guy that's all he's done in his LSU career. He doubles down the right field line. He scores Dickinson and Jones, and LSU has an 11-9 lead, and that would be your final score. So the Tigers win 11-9. Case and Evans, who I'm sure LSU did not want to use in this ball game. I'm certain if you inject some truth serum into Jay Johnson's arm, he's going, and you ask him, hey, coach, did you want to use Case and Evans in the 9th inning in the Tuesday game against North Dakota State, a 1-9 team with a cumulative batting average of 197? He'd say, no, expletive no. It's baseball. All right. What a game. This is why I love baseball. I know there's a lot of people who look at that. I'm not looking at the comments yet. I'm going to get to them in a second. And there's going to be people melting, and there's going to be people who are upset. What's wrong? They're not disciplined. They don't throw strikes. I know what I'm going to see. I haven't looked at the comments yet, but I'm going to. And that's baseball explanation is just not okay for a lot of people. But I'll go back to 1997, arguably the most dominant team we've ever seen at LSU. And on the second to last day of the regular season, they gave up, 22 runs to Alabama? Got blown out. Came back the next day, beat Alabama, won the SEC, went on to win the national championship, beating that Alabama team in the national championship game. It's baseball. That's why I love it. It is the most unpredictable game in the world because things like this can happen. Now, what I don't love is how this game started, in particular for Conner Ware. So let's go there. Conner Ware has been really good for LSU this year. And if you go through fall and preseason and up until this point, candid conversations I've had with people in and around the LSU program have said Conner Ware was the best pitcher. Not the best newcomer, not the best transfer, not the best JUCO guy, the best pitcher. And if there was anybody who wobbled in the rotation, Ware was the guy stepping in to take their spot. And this weekend, we saw that. We saw all 3 starters at times have their issues. And this was a huge opportunity for Conner Ware against a dramatically overmatched opponent to go out there, shove, and say, Coach, give me the ball. Looked okay to start. He goes fly out, strike out on 3 pitches, but ball gets through Cade Arambidi. Instead of 2 out, nobody on, now you got 1 out and a runner on first. Actually, you had a throwing error after that, so the runner on Ware, runner gets the third. Triple run scores. My goodness, how did that change quickly? You went from being 2 outs, nobody on, to all of a sudden a run in, 1 out, and a runner on. After the triple, Hamilton singled. Another runs in. You go strikeout, hit by pitch, walk with the bases loaded, and then strike out. Conner Ware pitched 2 innings in this game. 2 innings. He recorded 6 outs. Conner Ware recorded 6 outs in the ballgame. 5 of the 6 outs were via strikeout. When he threw the ball over the plate, it was awesome against a bad team. But he walked 3. He hit 2. He threw 2 wild pitches. He only gave up 2 hits. 5 earned runs in 2 innings pitched. That's what happens when you can't throw the ball over the plate. Same thing happened to Jaden Newt. Went in, gave up 2 hits, walked a guy, gave up a couple of runs. Primo came in, gave up a couple of runs. We've seen this from DJ Primo, who hit a couple of guys with the bases loaded, had a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th on Sunday. Now this time out, not good. It's good outing, bad outing, good. You've got to develop consistency. Jay Johnson has got to know if he calls you in from the bullpen, he can hand you the ball and you're going to deliver. It's not to say sometimes other teams aren't going to get hits against you, but you got to be confident that you're going to be able to deliver. And that's what you're learning. We did see Chandler Dorsey for the first time. Thank goodness. South Florida pitcher, who was their closer a year ago. Gave you 2 innings, finally steadied the tide, threw up a couple of zeros. And that's the thing that really got you going. Then Zach Cowan came in, gave you 2 2/3, and Kason Evans finished the ball game. And ultimately, after an atrocious first 4 innings, LSU was able to throw up 5 zeros after that. The bullpen finally steadied itself and threw up zeros in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th to get you home and allow the offense an opportunity to come back. So LSU 11 runs on 10 hits. Good day for the offense. Scored 11 runs on 10 hits. I mean, that is a good day. You didn't, you drew 9 walks on the day. It was a good offensive outing. 11 runs on 10 hits, and you drew 9 walks. Yes, I'll take it all the time. The issue, unfortunately, is all your pitching needed to do was throw the ball over the plate, and they couldn't do it. And that's why you ended up in a nail biter against a very bad baseball team. And the last time we saw this, LSU came out the neck when they lost to Omaha in Game 2. They came out in Game 3 and blew the doors off of Omaha, which I suspect is going to happen on Wednesday when LSU and North Dakota State play again, because Jay Johnson will have the undivided attention of his team after this game. But I would imagine there's not going to be a lot of great things to say. Okay, let's do this. Quick break. Don't move. Don't move. Quick break. Come back. And we'll get to your questions and comments after LSU beats North Dakota State 11-9. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. March basketball is here, and there is no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's fast, easy, and keeps every game exciting. This week, pick your favorite lineup, whatever it may be. I love, by the way, how I can make my picks in less than 60 seconds and stay engaged all game long. I would recommend this, something I do. I have my notification set, so it reminds me every day. The Prize Pick app reminds me every day to make my picks. And when I win, my money hits my account in as little as 15 minutes. No waiting around. Prize Picks even offers weekly promos like Taco Tuesday when you get discounted player projections for even more value. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Okay, your turn. LSU beats North Dakota State 11-9. Let's get to your comments. Max said, well, that was ugly, pointed, and very true. Monty, Milam is a dog with ice in his veins. Stephen Milam was certainly a bright spot in this ball game for the Tigers. He came up with the game tying and ultimately game winning hits in this ball game. He was 2 for 4 with 3 RBI, 2 doubles, and a walk. He continues to be awesome. After the season opening weekend where Milam wasn't great, a lot of people were concerned. Don't be. When you have a game, a sample size like Milam does of his freshman season, 56 games regular season, postseason, get to 70 games, and you hit 300 as a freshman, you can hit at this level. It's only a matter of time. And Milam's already showing you that. Hey, Patrick P., Rex, Merrick Mathern, Michael Ingram, we appreciate everybody for being here. Thomas Spencer said, not the kind of game I was hoping to see. I guess a win is a win. I'll say this to you, Thomas. Yes, a win is a win, but I'll remind you also, by the way, if you look at the net rankings coming into this game, North Dakota State was 85 in the net. So not at the bottom of the net like you'd see some of the SWAC teams you'd play, like Pine Bluff is 305, Mississippi Valley's 300, Prairie View's 295. You understand the point. They're 85. But in large part, that's because they played Alabama and LSU. They're going to play Tulane this week. So they played better teams, which has helped their RPI. But the win, I hate to say it this way, the win doesn't matter. It does. Like, forever and ever and ever, we've had this conversation. What matters most is your conference record. You go 20-10 in the league, you can be 0 in midweek games. It's just not going to matter. Your RPI is going to be high enough. You go 20-10 in the league, you're going to be a regional host and a national seed. You want to win these games? Yes, you do. What you want to do more than anything is learn about your team and who you can trust. For example, Kason Evans, dog, you can trust him. Stephen Milam, like who was that just mentioned it? It was Monty. Stephen Milam, no questions. Jared Jones gets down 0-2, takes 4 pitches to draw a walk, doesn't get impatient, ends up getting on base and scoring what ends up being the tie and run. Or I guess in that instance was the game-winning run. You understand? It's more about learning about your team at this point of the season. The win. You want to win every game. Yes, you want to win every game. But winning or losing a game against North Dakota State isn't going to cost you your biggest goals of the season. You need to learn about your team, and they're doing that. Hey, Noah Lejeune, good evening. Clint, starting to find who we can count on the bullpen. That's the point, Clint. Thank you. That's the point. You're learning who you can count on. That's the point of the early season right now. Now, Zach Cowan came in, got you the win. Kason Evans came at the end of the game in the night when you had to have it. Boom, slammed the door. Even after he hit a guy. Sort of stumbled on the mound twice. Once he hit a guy, second he balked. But when he stayed upright, threw it over the plate, they couldn't hit it. That's what you're looking for. You know you can trust Kason Evans at this point. Michael Ingram, enjoy the live postgame recap. Thank you for being here. As long as y'all are here, I'll be here. Rex, Curiel is the real deal. Not the best day for Derek Curiel. He was 1 for 3 with a strikeout. He did walk twice. He scored twice. And you know what, as I say this, when I look at a guy going 1 for 3 with 2 walks and 2 runs scored, and I say, wasn't his best day? That's some perspective for a guy who's played a quarter of a college baseball season. But really what you think of is the big spot leading off the 8th. I'm looking to make sure I got it right. The big spot leading off the 8th where he struck out. Yep. On a 2-2 pitch, was fooled, swung over the top of a breaking pitch, struck out. Other than that, it's really good. But yes, Derek Curiel is absolutely the real deal. He's proven it so far. The only thing that's unknown is, can he do it consistently against SEC pitching? We're going to find out soon. Trivia Carter, good evening. Manny, that was awful, but wait, we won. I hate to badmouth players, but the Aaron Beatty is not ready. I agree. Kate Aaron Beatty is a freshman catcher, super high ceiling, and is going to be awesome. By the way, he homered in this ball game, so that was good. But defensively, I completely agree with you. He's not ready defensively. The this game, I could argue we could go back to the top of the first inning, get a fly out. Conner Ware has a strikeout. You'd be 2 out, nobody on. But on the strikeout, the ball gets through Aaron Beatty. Now all of a sudden you got a runner on base, and that's where the trouble started. Talk about it in every sport, y'all. Look at football. Catcher, middle linebacker, center, middle line, center, nose tackle, middle linebacker, safety, right up the middle. In baseball, catcher, shortstop, center field. You got to be great in the middle. Your catcher is so important. It's not just I got laughed at a lot by people, y'all, about Milazzo the last 4 years. I got laughed at by a lot of y'all. You know who you are. I don't need to name names. Y'all know who you are. But the thing I pointed out over and over and over again is when everybody talked about Travinsky's ability to hit homers, I said, yeah, but look at Milazzo behind the plate. It's not just caught stealing. His ability to block balls in the dirt. His ability to control the pitching staff. His ability to control the running game. His ability to control the tempo of the game. When you needed to slow it down, he could. When you needed to speed it up, he could. All his ability to steal strikes by his ability to receive and frame pitches. You can listen to guys. Had Will Hummers on the show last week. Talked about that exactly. Had Michael Papirski on the show last week. Talked about that exactly. You can listen to people give you those answers. You have to be willing to hear it, though. There's a lot of things catchers do to control the game that never show up in the body. It's like an offensive lineman. It's like a center in football. It's a lot of things that center does that will making calls, a lot of things that will never show up in a box score. But their ability to control the game is so critical. And you saw it. Look in the first inning right there. Aaron Beatty doesn't let that ball get through. 2 out, nobody on. Could be a completely different game. Instead, the trouble started. Michael, ugly win. Pitching seemed bad all night except Evans and Woodford transfer. Wofford transfer. That would be Zach Cowan. Glad we found a way. Manny, awful, but we won. Badmouth players, but Aaron Beatty is not. Oh, sorry, read that one already. Hey, Richard, happy Mardi Gras. Michael, Evans is good, only a freshman. Kason Evans is awesome and is going to continue to be awesome. He's ready. Chef, Aaron Beatty needs to develop more. That's one of the obvious answers we've gotten here in the early part of this season is that. Came into this season wondering, what are you going to do at catcher? What are you going to do in right field? Right field DH. Well, you've got your answer at catcher. It's Luis Hernandez. He's got 600 career at-bats, and he's a better defensive option. Not an elite defensive option, but the best defensive option you have right now. Carla, what's wrong with our pitchers? Carla, I think you're learning about your pitchers. I think you feel really good about your ability to get through games with Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Evans, Cowan, Binge. You run through this list of guys that you've counted on in these spots. You're going to get Gavin Guidry. Conner Ware had a really rough go tonight, but that's a guy they like a lot. William Schmidt, no doubt, we're going to see start on Wednesday against this same team. You got enough guys you like. You got to be able to get home, and they did today. Hunter, Matt, no one's going to care about this when we get to SEC play, so the real question is, how do I get a Parashat if I no longer live in Baton Rouge? Send me your address. I'll mail you one. Irfan Sayad, why we're not seeing more Blaze Priester. Sometimes your answer is in the question. If you're struggling right now behind the plate and you're not seeing Blaze Priester, isn't that your answer? The coaches know. I think Blaze Priester does two things exceptionally well. He's got a hose for an arm, and he can hit the ball a mile. But is he a good defensive catcher? And can he hit for average? If the answer is no to those things, that's probably your answer. The coaches have seen him more. They would know. Travis, all because they moved us to number 1. Yeah, I don't think that's the answer. Hey, Noah, playing North Alabama this weekend doesn't really matter. True. Let me say it this way. As I've said for years, and a lot of you don't like it, the result doesn't matter in the macro. Do you want your team to win? Yes. The 2000 national champions got swept by Houston. 1993 national champions got swept by Maine. Happens. It's baseball. You don't like that answer, I get it. But it's true. It's baseball. Good teams lose to bad teams. It sometimes happens. You don't play your best every single day. But you got to play your best enough and be playing your best when you get to the postseason. But the month leading up to conference play is all about learning about what you think you know. So when you get to conference play, your best players are on the field. I'll tell you this. When LSU plays Missouri, mark my words. Mark my words. Write this down. All of you, write this down. Clip this. Come back and laugh at me if I'm wrong. LSU, a week from Friday, begins a series against Missouri. They'll play 3 games. Luis Hernandez will start all 3 games at catcher. Period. Paragraph. No questions asked. He's your best option. You got their conference games. Got to win them. He will be in the game. He will start all 3. You want to get Aaron Beatty starts in the weekend or midweek? Cool. When it counts in SEC play, Luis Hernandez will be your starter. Manny, Matt, you said it. Catching is an issue, period. It's their Achilles heel. Been talking about it since before the season. Biggest question on the team. Randy, I bet we beat North Dakota State 20-2 tomorrow. One of those weird games and an awful start. It's true. And I'll remind you again, the worst game this team has played so far was the loss to Omaha in game 2. And it was a doubleheader. They came back after that and blew the doors off of Omaha in the second game of the doubleheader. Sometimes you need something like this to wake you up. Maybe it'll be it. Hey, Justin, almost any given Tuesday. Wayne, thank you for being there. Michael, unrelated, is LSU ever going to have fan day around spring football? Probably not. And I'm going to keep this post game to baseball, but thank you. Thank you for the question. Connor, John Pearson needs a shot at third. You know, Connor, if he keeps delivering offensively, I think he's going to get it. But what I will say unequivocally is Braswell has been excellent defensively at third. And if you could put Braswell and Stanfield at the bottom of your lineup, I like those 2 guys with good speed and the ability to handle the bat, and veteran SEC players at the bottom of the lineup because they've been through the battles in the SEC. Braswell hit 300 in conference play a year ago. He can do it. Just because you have a slow start offensively doesn't mean that you can't do it. But to your point, you keep giving John Pearson opportunities and he keeps delivering. I mean, on Tuesday night, you got a pinch hit AB for Josh Pearson. Great AB, drew a 4-pitch walk. Huge spot. Chuck, Matt, what's your confidence level in pitching? On a 1 to 10, an 8. Because I know I can go into any weekend with Anderson, because you got to keep this in mind. I'm not talking about 20 arms. I'm talking about who are the 8 arms that when you get to postseason play, you're going to count on. Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Ware, Guidry, Evans, Schmidt. I mean, these are the guys, Benj, Cowan, nine guys I just named that I have confidence I can give the ball to. They're going to throw strikes and get guys out. Not going to happen every time out. Wasn't great for Ware tonight, but I'll point it again. Ware gets a fly out to start the game, strikeout. If Aaron Beatty can block up that ball, all of a sudden 2 outs, nobody on, but your catcher lets you down. And that's when the thing started spiraling. Buddy, 4-hour Tuesday showdown. A little hungover from the weekend, growing pains. Enjoy watching close games. Hope Tennessee cooperates the same down the road. Extra bottle of wine to finish. There you go, man. Brandon didn't get a chance to watch what happened with Aaron Beatty. He homered, but defensively continued to struggle and ultimately was replaced by Luis Hernandez. Wayne, I think we need to trust Jay. The fact that he's learning this team before SEC play. That's 100% the point. Jimmy Guidry asked about Schmidt starting. He'll start on Wednesday. I mean, that's what we're seeing right now is you've got your weekend rotation. Then you've got Ware and Schmidt are your next two guys vying for starting jobs. But remember, this is what happened a year ago with Cade Anderson. Anderson was awesome in the non-conference. In conference play, his ERA was over 20. But he was awesome in the pre-conference and in non-conference games. So Jay went, is this guy more valuable to me starting a midweek game against Nichols or getting me 3 innings in middle relief on a weekend? They tried to pitch him against conference opponents. Boom, he got rocked. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get SEC hitters out. So that's where Conner Ware and William Schmidt are lying in wait. You think you know what you got with Cade Anderson, Anthony Hines, and Chase Shores. But if you go into conference play and those guys are incapable of delivering, guess who's waiting? William Schmidt, Conner Ware. And by the way, don't sleep on Zach Cowan. He was the Friday night guy for Wofford last year. He's unorthodox. He throws a lot of changeups, but he can get guys out. And that's a guy, too, if you need him to end up in a starting role, could do it. I'll remind you, the guy who started the opening game Friday night a year ago was Thatcher Hurd. By the end of the year, it was Gage Jump, and you didn't even have a number 3. This is an evolution. You're going to continue to figure it out. Noah, can we give Larson 2 weeks off? I think Larson's a guy that needs rhythm. You know, it's funny because a year ago, he was a guy that when he got his pinch hit opportunities, made the most of them. And then you had to give him starts, and he was really good. This is a situation where I think with Brown and Pearson playing the way they are, every time Larson gets an opportunity, he's pressing. He feels like a rhythm guy. He's got to get a ton of ABs to be in a rhythm. Not happening for him right now. Chuck, what was the defense like? Not great. Early, anyway. Tristan, us guys over at the car wash in Highland, love the show. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Hey, pop by. Would love to see you. You know where we are. Pop in any day. Jimmy, Schmidt starting tomorrow. If so, who's the first arm out of the pen? I can't imagine anyone other than William Schmidt starting tomorrow. Who's the first out of the pen? It depends on the situation. If William Schmidt gives you 5 and you're up 13-0, then you probably go the combination of Cooper Williams and, you know, Maverick Rizzi, just your freshman arms trying to get innings. But if you have a leverage situation, you're going to go with guys who you're trying to see what they do in a leverage spot. Matt, love Locked on LSU. Great job. You have the voice for this. Thank you, Chuck. Very kind of you, man. Thank you for being there. Y'all do me a favor. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Last one. Rick, man, North Dakota State was like 1-9 coming in. Slow starter, killing my nerves. Yeah, North Dakota State is not a good team. I'll remind you, they scored 9 runs on 6 hits. 6 hits. That's because you committed 3 errors. You walked. Hang on, I got to find it again. The number was absurd. You walked 6. You hit 4. You gave them 10 bases and committed 3 errors. You want to let a bad team stay in the game? That's how you do it. Oh, how many wild pitches? And how many wild pitches? And 4 wild pitches. You want to let a bad team stay in it? That's how you let a bad team stay in it. Clean it up. I gave you the football analogy, y'all. When you play Grambling, it ain't about Grambling. It's about don't commit stupid pre-snap penalties. Don't turn the ball over. When the ball hits you in the hand, catch it. Tackle in the open field. No pre-snap penalties. Like, make sure your operation is good. That's what it's about. That's what tonight was about. And you failed in a lot of areas. But when you found yourself down, your pitching staff ended up throwing up zeros in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. They threw up 5 straight zeros to give you the opportunity to get back in it and ultimately win it. So you found it. And that's a good thing. So focus on acknowledge the bad and fix it. But focus on the positive as well, which is that you're able to come back from that awful deficit, find a way to win this game. All right, let me get out of here, y'all. Hey, thanks so much for being here, making us your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On College Basketball, however you get podcasts, or on YouTube. Hey, if you're live on YouTube, thank you so much. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. If you're on podcast, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review, let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.